Welcome to Hustle System. My name is Mikhail and I help people master their mindset, build a better business, and help you live your life on your terms. This is going to be a very personal video because if you're watching this channel, you are dedicated to setting a higher standard for yourself and you want to achieve more in your life than you're currently achieving. And one of the hardest things with that is to achieve and then lose. So I'm just going to be transparent. That's what I'm experiencing today. It's pretty tough. I've had two very, very important clients to me say that we're not going to continue business anymore. Now, you're probably wondering, like, whoa, did you not deliver the value? No, I mean, we worked our proverbial butts off to deliver value. Sometimes things just don't line up. And so you can tell I'm a little bit choked up about it, but I think it's important to catch these moments as they happen, because this was a situation where you have a client that you really care about. You push yourself and your entire team to deliver for that client, and it's still not good enough. And sometimes that just happens. And so the first thing that happens to me when I experience this, because this is not the first time, if you're in business, you got to get in a habit of gaining clients, losing clients, gaining clients. And sometimes those clients you lose come back. Most of the time, most clients that leave actually end up coming back and going, dude, we didn't know what we had with you, man. You're actually really great. And let's pick this back up where we left off. And then we kind of reevaluate from there. So you got to get used to that and not have too much of an emotional response. But these particular clients for me are very, very important. They have, it's not just business for me. There's a personal relationship there. And it's a very tough pill to swallow. And so, again, so I'm caching this video in the moment and being vulnerable with you guys. The topic is going to be how to maintain the winner effect and winner energy through almost any obstacle. And that's a true test of resilience, right? When everything's going good, it's really easy to be happy, be optimistic, and crush it. But days like today, I find it tough. I'll be honest, I find it tough. Now, let's talk about what happens psychologically when something like happens. Well, you have a close client who's also a close friend, and now they're like, hey, let's not continue business. Well, what's the first thing that triggers? It goes, did I not deliver value? And you start to reevaluate all the systems in your business and the deliverables, and the deliverables kind of stack up. And then you look at it and you go, well, maybe it's not the deliverables. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's energy. Maybe you're pushing the client too hard to do work. Maybe you're not pushing the client enough to do work. And then you have that weird moment, right? And it's a moment like every man has. Like if you ever had like a breakup with a girl, right? It's like, maybe it's me. What if it's me? What if I'm just not? What if I'm not just not good? Period. What if I'm not as good as I think I am? And again, I told you this is going to be a very vulnerable video. It's the first thing that comes to mind. I've spent the last 10 years working day in, day out, like round the clock. I mean, you guys see my social media, those of you that follow me. You guys know I wake up, I go to the gym, I eat super healthy, and I deliver value. And then like very occasionally I'll go have a dinner or a coffee with a friend or go, travel somewhere for a short period of time. So with that kind of lifestyle, it's an amazing lifestyle. I'm super grateful for it. But it brings on the question of being a basically no holds barred skill builder. How am I not good? How is it that I failed? How is it that I failed here? And that creates some really deep introspection as a business leader, because if you feel like you're failing yourself, and say you have a team of 10, 15 people even, well, how are you going to lead them? How are you going to push through something like that? How are you going to dial in and overcome your own psychology? And that's why I talk about mastering your mindset. The speed of rebound is so important. So brutal hit. For me, brutal hit. It's not like just the cash flow. It's an emotionally brutal hit. It's similar to a breakup, and it's tough. It's really tough. And so the first part of me wants to shut down. It wants to crawl into a little bubble, and it wants to say, oh God, everything's collapsing, da da da. And if you've ever like lost your job, for example, it's a pretty good example of that. Breakups are another good example. Losing a loved one's another good example. And in this video, we're gonna talk through it. We're gonna talk through it to where we can get you to that winner effect faster, because that's what you really need to do, is you need to take action. Is rather than sitting there and trying to process it, and trying to go through it, and trying to figure out what you did wrong, let the lessons come to you later. The lesson maybe is not meant to come to you right away. It's just like if you go through a breakup or something, and you don't really learn until like a certain amount of time later on, hey, that just wasn't a good fit. You know, just, it's like, I wasn't what she was looking for, or she wasn't what I was looking for. Well, maybe it's that, but if you spend that entire year, say, trying to learn that lesson, you're gonna learn that lesson anyway. So that's the first step to this process, is understanding that the lessons that you're meant to learn, you're going to learn them irrespective of whether or not right now, in this moment, if you're going through something similar to what I'm going through, you take action. If you take action, you will still learn the lesson. And that's really, really important. You don't have to like shut down and go cry in a corner in order to learn that lesson. It's not a requirement to learn the lesson. In fact, you're gonna learn the lesson much faster if you immediately rebound into a state of action and of saying, what can we do here? How can we be more proactive? How can we create a more win-win scenario in the situation? So if that ends up being your default, what ends up happening is, let's say you lose your job, for example. Well, now you're able to go into action taker mode and find a job much faster, which then puts you back in the headspace of you, quote, to have a job, if that's like your thing. You know, we preach escaping the 9-to-5 here quite a bit. So that applies to, let's say, your business tanks. Now, it's a huge one. It's a huge one. If your business tanks completely, I mean, imagine this, you have to let go of all your employees, right? The people that have fought for you and stood by your side. That's very demoralizing. That's something that can completely make or break a person, irrespective of how strong you are. And the same applies to like athletes, for example. If they're building up to a championship and they don't win, sometimes they never just quite recover because they pushed so hard. And so the first step is understanding that lesson that you're meant to learn. You're going to learn it no matter what. And in fact, you're going to learn it faster if you go into action taking momentum. The second part is figuring out what to do. Okay? So moments like this for me, say I lose 2 clients. Okay? So I'm going to split it kind of. It's 2 clients, and then I feel like personal relationships were put under strain. So losing 2 clients. Okay, well, how much cash flow is that? Okay. What do we need to do to replace that cash flow? Simple. Do we maybe now have more resources to generate that value in the marketplace than we did when we were fulfilling for that client? Quite possibly. Okay, got it. Cool. What do we do? This. You come up with a game plan, you test, you execute, right? You follow that P-STEP formula that I've broken down for you guys. Those of you guys that have not seen that video, by the way, I recommend checking out my mentoring program. Super excellent, 12-week course. Everything you need to learn about marketing with mindset built in, epic. I'll include a link down below. But really great way of thinking about it. Number 1, you're gonna learn the lesson anyway. Number 2, what do you need to do right now? What is the action you need to take to get yourself back to that mindset? And it might feel very, very weird because we've been programmed that when something happens, you have to react to it. But maybe this is not something you have to react to at all. Maybe you have to be non-reactionary. Maybe now is the time for you to break that pattern and to ask yourself the third question. This is the most important question, is what is it about your identity that is making this happen? And there's one of 2 things. Either you were not ready for something that was really good, or you're moving away from something that's really bad. And again, good and bad are kind of relatives, but let's say you got fired from a job, that might be the best thing because maybe you've outgrown that job, right? Or maybe you take on a new client, it's a great client, you're excited, but then it doesn't work out. Well, maybe you weren't ready to accept that client into your life. Maybe you weren't ready to have that level of abundance. And so you need to ask yourself, what is it about your self-association that is actually self-sabotaging it, or not being able to see a really positive situation when it actually presents itself? So Yeah, really, really vulnerable video, guys. Like full disclosure, having a really tough day, really tough. Want to shut down. Instead, I'm going to go to the gym, right? Instead, I'm going to take action. Instead, I'm going to hit up every other person in my phone who has wanted to work with me for years and hasn't had a chance to because I haven't had any client spots. So now I'm going to free up some, I've got some client spots freed up. So cool, I can take on a couple of my buddies that really want to do some great work. Sweet. And so that took me all of like, an hour or so to get to that headspace, right? For something that for a lot of people would go into victim mentality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll probably do a second video right after this about specifically how to break out of victim mentality. I think that'd be a good learning lesson for you guys. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. If you're already subscribed, but you have not yet clicked the notification bell, please click the notification bell. I would massively appreciate it. And comment down below. Have you ever had a situation where something happens to you and you just want to shut down? And how did you go about it? What did you do? What were the lessons that you learned? Comment down below this video. This has been Mikhail with Hustle System, where I help people master their mindset, build a better business, and help you live your life on your terms. Appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I will see you in the next one.